When Oprah Winfrey started, I'm sure she wanted to be the best TV show host she could ever be. When Viola Davis started, I'm sure she wanted to be the best actress that she could be. Now, as a young girl growing up from a small town in the Eastern Cape, I thought to myself, wow, these women leading in their industries, such inspiration, but they're in America. It could never be me. When Bonang Mateba started, I'm sure she wanted to be the best TV presenter she could ever be. When Basitsane Khumalo started, I'm sure she wanted to have the best production company she could ever have. And as a young woman growing in a small town in the Eastern Cape, I thought to myself, wow, these women doing amazing things, and they're in South Africa? It could be me. When Allegro started her media company, I'm sure she wanted it to be the best it could ever be. When Tato started her company, which brings a solution of providing light to students who don't have access to electricity, I'm sure she wanted to be the best. And when I saw these young individuals who looked like me, who spoke just like me, and who started when they were young, as I am, I thought to myself, such inspiration, leading women, starting out as young as I am, it will be me. Good evening. My name is Xabiso Lombo, and today I've titled my speech, Creating Something Out of Nothing. They say the hardest thing in life is to go from 0 to 1, to create something out of nothing. Well, I believe if we look at this and analyze it quite further, we'd find that that's actually not the case. Life in itself, I believe, is a ball of sequence of events. If you look at myself, I was once just an idea. I then became a cell. Many sequence of events later, here I am, a something. So I believe genuinely in life, everyone goes through a ball of circumstances to become where they are. Tonight you are someone, you are somewhere, and you want to be, or to create something out of yourself. So here is my story or journey of events. I grew up in a small town in the Eastern Cape called Queenstown. I am the youngest of 3 daughters, and it didn't take rocket science to understand why my parents were so strict, because the reality of our world is that the world was never kind to women and children. While I was going through school, I tried to be the best person that I could ever be. If I was in a dramatic production, I wanted to be the lead character, the best actress. If I was in a team, I wanted to be part of the first team. Academically, I wanted to be first in the grade. And those sequence of events landed me in the best university in Africa, the University of Cape Town. And once I was here, I then began to have another series of events, and this made me realize being the best, I'm surrounded by the best, and I don't think I'm the best anymore. It was here then I began to realize that validation and excellence begins from oneself. You have to believe that you are excellent, and you have to believe that you are the best if you want to make it in this life. So, once at UCT, a rather unfortunate sequence of events started happening. Every week, you would hear of a student who was robbed, a student who was missing, or a student who was raped. I then began to ask myself, how do I then begin to tackle such a situation if it were ever to happen to me? I then began looking, finding for a solution as to how I could aid myself if such a situation were to happen to me. I found a solution, which was a device which I could wear, which was connecting via Bluetooth to my cell phone. So if I was in danger, I could, and my phone was in range, I could make a distress call to family and friends. Another solution I found was applications. And this application allowed me to contact my family and friends. But I stepped back and I looked into the reality of our country. So this application, I need to first unlock my cell phone, sift through the many apps which already exist, then log into it, and then I can access safety. That to me didn't make sense. Because in South Africa, the perpetrator will confiscate your cell phone first. Then what? So then, essentially what I was looking for was something that was going to tell people who cared about me that I'm in danger and I'm at this location. And I couldn't find it. And I asked myself, well, let's create it. And by the time I had identified the problem, I had already surrounded myself with people who believed in me. And by the time I had found a probable solution, I had already seen people doing great things who looked and spoke just like me. And that is why representation matters. And that is exactly what Guardian Gabriel then did. Guardian Gabriel primarily is a panic button which allows me to access safety by sending an SMS together with a link of your location to 4 family and friends without needing connectivity to your cell phone. But you might ask, how big of a reality is safety in South Africa? Well, since 2015, the murder rate for women has increased by more than 150%. Sexual crimes against women have increased by more than 50%. While I'm speaking to you right now, every 9 minutes a child goes missing. So by the time I have finished my speech, 2 families are going to be in pain because there is a missing child. And the most unfortunate reality I had to face was that as a woman living in South Africa, there is a 1 in 3 chance that I will be raped in my lifetime. So this is why I created my something out of nothing. Because in life, we have to understand that we need to be safe, and safety is a big issue. Whilst also looking at the problem, I began to understand that it's not just about what you do in that specific moment. It's what happens before that moment and also what happens after. And futuristically, and this is the direction that Guardian Gabriel wants to take, because we believe there are various phases of trauma. We want to equip people, more specifically women and children, with the skills of knowing what to do when faced with danger, what to try and avoid those specific dangers. And our primary product currently, which is what you will need in a dangerous situation, is our panic button. However, with trauma, you have to deal with it. You have to deal with the consequences after it. And we want to also provide the services of helping you heal from that specific trauma. So this, for me, was creating my something out of nothing. So I'm asking you here today, firstly, I'd like to make an example of a little some things that you can create out of nothing. So in life, we always open bank accounts and we save. And that starts from nothing to something. We spend roughly 15 years going through the education system because we want to make something of ourselves. We then begin to even start families, started from nothing to something. But what is all of that money, that family, that entertainment? We create memories and then something from nothing. What is all of that if we aren't there to live to tell the tale? A lot of us have the mentality of, I don't need it until it happens to me. But what will you do when it happens to you and you aren't well equipped to deal with such a situation? So, with your times trying to deal with life, going through your various sequence or consequences of events, I urge you, stop, take a minute, protect yourself, invest in Guardian Gabriel. At the end of the day, I also want to urge you to create something out of nothing. Guardian Gabriel for me is my something which I created out of nothing. And my reason is to provide or to equip women and children with the best skills, the best chances of survival. And that is my something out of nothing to the world.